Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
No, baby, please don't go.
Right, we're leaving that in as part of the show, so the show has
100%.
already started.
No, that means we go. That means we go. Who is that? I can't remember who that is.
Oh, right, we have to pay royalties.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think they would come after us for that.
I'm not sure that classes as music. I don't think that would have been recognisable.
Is that
even
the
by...
Commodores?
I think it's satire. You get away with it, so that's what we'll.
Yeah.
Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome to the Vialucci show.
99.9.
I know, very simple.
Right on the edge.
Keeping it just under 100.
So it'll be 2 weeks. That'll be second week of March, will it, for the 100th show? No, hang on. This is the last show.
Of what?
99.9. There's no other. The next one has to be 100.
Well, no, it could be 9. No, we established that you're listening to a free podcast.
Yeah.
It should be, next episode could be anything. It could be 99.91 or
No, that's too far.
99.9A.
That's offensive. That's like you're mocking us now.
Hi, everyone.
That ship sailed long ago. That ship sailed long ago.
Yeah, our dignity went a long, long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not doing it.
Like
It has to be.
Spaghetti Man was. That's what we.
There has to be a line drawn for like possible sponsors and stuff. So we have to say the 100th show in the new place. We cannot record before then.
Could be 101. Could be the new episode.
No, it doesn't work.
In production codes, it's often 101.
Yeah. Oh, here he goes. No, it's common sense. It's 100. So we'll have to figure something
Again,
out.
that ship sailed long ago.
We'll just do another
Don't
show.
talk about these things that we don't do.
Yeah. Oh, we're recording.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Hello everyone, we started. Yay.
Yeah, so
If
here
you're
we are.
listening now, it's well, where are we? 18th of February today. So we are. I'm not even sure. When did the this latest lockdown come into effect? It was just before Christmas, wasn't it? Or was
I
that?
can't remember now.
The January, because it was like January I think it was like
No,
the
it was before
Monday.
January.
Oh, but
Because they
that was the
opened up
tiers.
for
That was,
Christmas.
no, that was them
Tiers.
bumping up the tiers, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, that
okay.
was it. I was trying to remember.
I mean, effectively, where I am, we've been in lockdown since November, December, January, February, so 4 months. So the best part of 4 months now.
Oh, really? Has it been that? So you were what, tier 4 or tier?
Yeah. Since the end of the second lockdown, since the end of the November lockdown, we had 2 days in tier 3, and then we went straight to tier 4, and then we were going to have Christmas, and then we didn't have Christmas.
Yes.
And then straight after Christmas, we went into another national lockdown. So
When was the last time we recorded in the office? January, February, March? Would it be?
Yeah, we
December.
recorded some in between the lockdowns, didn't we? We definitely recorded some in the offices
Oh, yeah, I
between
think
the lockdowns.
we did have one or two, yeah.
Yeah,
back
because we
into
had
lockdown.
one.
because I was with you, it was a couple of weeks before Christmas, because I think it was a week before Christmas. Or...
Do we do Halloween? I feel like we did a Halloween.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, I thought
Close
okay.
to
Well, what's the New Zealand Prime Minister? Jasperin?
Jocasta Ardern.
No.
Jacinda Ardern.
Whatever. Oh, no, I've got to say it.
Jacinda Ardern.
Jacinda.
Jacinda Ardern.
Yeah.
There we go. Voice of reason.
The voice of God just came through there. He said, "Hurry up with the show!" They had a little outbreak in like 3 or 4 people, and then the whole city she locked down the whole city, and that's the way you should do it.
They said huge outbreak in New Zealand, 1 confirmed case, and I was just like,
Lockdown. I came out of the petrol station today, and the girl walked past me straight in, no mask. Just doesn't matter what day it is. Doesn't matter.
I'm surprised that's the case because the supermarket. Well, I suppose if you're a petrol station, that's harder because the supermarket around.
No,
the corner
I'm
from
not
me,
even
I've
allowed to go
got
out the petrol. It's the balls
of
of
course.
to walk past somebody
There's
and
a
not be
garbage
embarrassed.
person there.
There was
all the shops around me aren't. Loads of people don't walk around. No one's enforcing any of this. That's the.
It's
been one
made
of
me
the
feel
issues.
so like I thought badly about people anyway before the lockdown, but it's the low level I've now realised that they will go to the year into a lockdown and just people going, no, not wearing it. There's a bus driver, he was saying he said after these people are getting on the bus saying, what do they call it, exempt, and you can't do nothing. That's it, you're done.
Yeah.
You're looking, there's half the people that sat there. Can you look up what's her name? I might have it miss.
I have noticed. I have seen for the first time someone wearing a lanyard, with a badge saying "I'm exempt." That's
Yeah, but
the
this is too late. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
year
No, I'm
later.
just saying. That's what I'm saying. It's weird that.
Can you
it's
look
taken
up
this time.
PC Tassia Stevens.
PC Tassia.
Tasia.
Oh, yes, I've got it.
What
Yeah,
a
it comes up.
ridiculous story this is. Look, read this.
Okay.
Which one's that? I
You,
saw
you
it
guys
earlier.
talk amongst yourselves while I try and
Come on,
quickly skim read this.
Yeah,
But yeah, having a little lanyard around your neck, with your sort of disability thing, it's like having disabled badge, for the parking.
Yeah.
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 but you
Makes
just,
sense.
Yeah, it was quite unobtrusive. The woman, it just looked like a normal. It's only because she was stood not next to me.
where would you get that from? A doctor? You have to go through a doctor.
I assume so, or yeah.
Council probably or whatever. It's like with the disabled, badge.
Oh right, yeah, that
disabled
makes
spots,
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, we're starting to wear
dear.
signs though. Bit iffy. We start wearing signs around people's necks.
but
oh god, yeah.
It's not really. Yeah, but it's not quite the equivalent to say, guys.
Disabled people though having
Yeah.
A police officer is, this is from the Metro newspaper here in the UK. A police officer is facing the sack after allegedly breaking lockdown rules to go to a party before crashing her car while driving under the influence.
So it's just it's comedic level of just, and the fact that they're saying May face. They go, what do you May face? She's sacked. What are you talking about? Right, she's broken two laws there.
Yeah,
May
but I mean,
get sacked.
I'm just looking at her. She's quite pretty, which means she'll probably get she'll probably go on OnlyFans or whatever. And
What's
you
that?
know,
I think you've mentioned that before.
That's the one where it's it's webcams, but the girls, predominantly, but it doesn't.
Yeah, mostly,
some famous people do
Oh right.
it. It's just they'll just be like, here's exclusive pictures. So instead of just my Instagram, you pay to see. I don't know, whatever.
It's pay-per-view content, so
Yeah,
it can be
essentially.
technically anything you want. But
So a friend of mine, so I know a few girls who do it. Some of them are, I guess, in the very strict sense of term, sex workers. They'll do sort of solo pornography.
Just webcamming.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
But it can also be photo. I mean, again, I don't know. One of my friends signed up to. She does burlesque shows on it. It's just a bit like, on the one hand, I want to help support your business. On the other hand, I don't want to sign up to OnlyFans, so I don't know. Can you set up a GoFundMe page so I don't, so I don't know exactly how it works.
Pimping themselves out sexually, aren't they? It's not a niche thing anymore. It's like everyone's going, yeah, do webcam. But that's on there forever now. Then, like you.
I guess I guess for some people it doesn't. It doesn't matter, and it also depends on what level you're doing. I don't think anyone cares about burlesque.
Yeah, that's the line. That's the line there. You can't.
Yeah,
cross
but
that.
it depends. If you do sort of adult work,
But that's what I never understood with doing that online. You go, that's there. That's there now. That's not like you doing it in private.
But that's like porn films, isn't it? Like once you've done it.
Yeah, but that's a step. That's because that's what you do. I can't imagine these people haven't got other jobs or things, and you got kids and grandkids. You're gonna. It's just like anything. It's like somebody else that I spoke to. I think I've said this before. The antique dealer, and he said, and this is 10 years ago. He said they're having a laugh. He said because this is the generation that sells the family jewels. Doesn't matter that your nan snuck it out of Nazi Germany, this gold ring. The kids nowadays get it straight down cash converters, mate. What's it worth? Gives the money. So everyone's just selling their dignity. Everything's for sale now. It's like bloody free for note. There's no sense of like any worth or anything.
It's like those Antiques Roadshow and stuff. They literally they say, they bring along Grandad's medal, Grandad's Victoria Cross that he won at the Somme for storming a German machine gun nest and saving his platoon. And they're like, oh, you get 30 quid for that. And they're like, oh, 30 quid.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The Granddad's telling you this grave thing. I went out with food without.
It's just like
I starved for 2 weeks and didn't sell that.
I kill people for that. Yeah.
I'll never forget that. They said this is the generation that sells the family jewels. And it doesn't matter where they come from. Give us the money, get a PlayStation. Don't care. And it is. That is a sign of where we are now. But yes, the short-term thinking of like doing these webcam things. You go, I'm sure these aren't all full-time porn actresses. These are people that probably got jobs and kids, and it's just there.
Yeah, some of them are. I think. Excuse me. Again, I only know this sort of anecdotally, and that lots of people try and make documentary. There's been umpteen documentaries about this, and I'm like, God, you're all just trying to. It's just an excuse to try and get tits on. I'm only speaking in terms of that's their thinking of like, how can we get tits on BBC One at 9 o'clock? I know we'll do a documentary.
Yeah,
in inverted
serious look
commas.
at the
yeah. You know, someone's going to go, like, you know, that's what it is. It's
Do you think blokes do anything on there?
Yeah, I'm sure there must be.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think it's like most things.
But would that be gay guys looking, not women looking?
Well, it could be. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's probably women looking, but my gut would be, I don't know, men are just more gross than women, so they want to be like, let's have a, you know,
they're not doing it for the content.
No, exactly. Regardless of you know, sexuality in terms of, you know, what your preference is, men are just gross. So like, you know, no one don't like, I don't want to hear any challenge on that. That's, you know, that's a fact. Men
I feel bad for
as
women.
a species are gross.
You've got to put up
as
with
a whole
living in a world of sort of chimpanzees that are men, and you've got to navigate that. So, I think I've written a psychological thing once, or it was about why women naturally now, over like obviously generation, evolution, have become more. They get more mature earlier, is because they have to navigate men. Like from an early age, you have to have that thing of working around them because they're trying to get at you all the time. So it creates an emotional intelligence that men don't have at that time. Okay. I thought, I couldn't imagine that. Like,
because
you're constantly just trying to work around men who are all constantly trying to have a go at you, sort of thing. So it's just something you have extra that we don't. We don't have to worry that it'll be like, but if we were born and there was men, women, and then there were silverback gorillas everywhere that wanted to have sex with men. You're constantly on the edge of like, what and where can I go and what can't I do?
It is. I mean, some of the thing, it's like famously there was that there was a countdown clock. This is so gross, but I'm only telling people what is a real thing. It was a countdown clock to when the singer Charlotte Church would turn 16.
God.
Like there was a website. It was literally, I can't remember but essentially it was counting down until she was the age of consent in the UK, which is 16. And it's like, what? Like,
to do what?
Just to count down until she would be legally.
Well, what, she had porn photos or something?
No.
Didn't they report on that? I swear one of the newspapers was doing that as well.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But what were they waiting for?
As in, so because she became famous very young, it was this countdown clock to say, this is when, you know.
I thought you were going to say, look, release some photos at 16.
No. It was just to say this is when she's legally able to have sex.
She's of age.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like how gross that is.
But just not even,
and for very predatory as well. Very predatory.
But over that would be like, have you got nothing else going on? Like, what's to be got? You set up that clock. What were you doing? What is your day work that's what you've got time to do? I mean, it almost
goes some pervert. Like that's
but it goes to a level of patheticness that I only sort of it goes with like racist people. Where you go,
it's the internet, of course. There's a level of patheticness and loneliness to it. There's always an element to that. Everything on the internet has. If you could smell the internet, it would smell vaguely like cum. It would just be like.
I
was going to go with poo, but he went with the sexy.
Like, thanks for that. That was lovely.
Oh God!
Thanks everyone.
We'll see. We're cancelling the second
listen
series
to this via the internet. And they're all just like,
we're ending the show by popular demand.
It's true. It's true. If the internet had a
majority,
smell, it would smell like my waste paper.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Andrew, what are you drinking? Let's pull this off the rails. What are
you
having?
Exactly. Vodka and ginger ale.
Have you got your black ice in there?
No, I haven't actually this time. No.
No, the new studio.
You know the cooling stones.
Oh.
Yeah, so you get stones, you put them because Theo.
So they don't dissolve, do they?
No. They're basically stones. So you put them in the freezer. They get very cold. You put them in.
Oh, they're not full of water.
No. So the idea is
they're literally cold. Right.
They would keep your drink cool, but then they don't. If you don't want because some people don't like it if
So they're like mini ice packs. They're just very, very cold.
Yeah, essentially, and because
it doesn't water the drink down, then.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. So because there's all this.
Isn't that part of it, watering down the drink or not?
It depends. There's all sorts of arguments for and against. I personally don't like ice in my scotch.
In my wine.
Yeah, well, certainly not in wine. But Yeah, that's weird. But some people
The Spanish
say,
have it in red wine, don't they?
Yeah, that's
really?
true. Oh, actually,
Yeah.
that is true. Yeah, and they have a lot of wine cold anyway. I think Greece. When I went to Greece, they would often serve red wine.
Well, it's
cold.
no weirder than putting ice in coffee. Do you know, that's odd. Like iced coffee.
Yeah.
It's ice. If you just flavour it, it's what people like. I like iced coffee over anything else. Charles, what do you? I know you drink beer, but what do you drink in terms of brandy, whiskey? What do you call them? Liqueurs? Is that what it's called?
Liquors, I suppose.
Baileys?
Liqueurs.
You go for a Bailey?
Liqueurs. Oh, look, you mean actual liqueurs?
Yeah.
Or liquors.
No, any of that sort of strong,
Spirits.
Oh, okay.
Spirits, yeah.
Spirits, yeah. I like a rum or a gin
rum.
and tonic and
Oh,
wine. It's mostly wine. Like I mostly sort of drink wine now, I suppose.
What, White Lightning? MD 2020?
No, Lambrini, obviously. Yeah,
Oh,
good old
class,
Lambrini.
But it tastes, see, Lambrini, but it tastes nice. I like Lambrini.
No, it doesn't.
Really?
It does.
No,
Anything that a 16-year-old
You
girl
don't
in a
drink
park
anymore,
would
do you?
drink.
I thought you don't drink.
Who, me?
Yeah. Or do
No,
you
I
just
mean,
not
I've had a drink for
often?
months and months, but it's just if it's there, but I don't.
Wow.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm just not bothered about it. It's just, but if it was there, I wouldn't be bothered too fast. But I've got my taste buds are too fussy. So anything that's like champagne, I can't drink that. I just don't. It's got to be like something that's under sort of $2.99. For some reason, my taste buds like it.
You're a cheap date then, yeah?
Yeah. Talking of cheap, did you see the Biden's administration? The thing I have to get reminded myself is that they keep talking about, we're back to the way things used to be and got rid of it. And you go, yeah, the things were terrible before. That was like you're talking George Bush. It wasn't like some utopia before Trump.
Yeah.
So it's not really. You're not.
It was all kind of falling apart at the seams.
Yeah.
Like
you
at the
want
best
to
of times.
celebrate, but you go, well, what are we celebrating? Going back to that load of.
Yeah.
But he there's. Do you know this thing about Betsy DeVos?
The
I
name
know the
rings a bell,
name.
don't it?
Yeah.
So
I
she
know
was
the name.
part of the main government. She was, I think, education, high up in education.
Yeah.
And she started her own sort of education thing, but she's basically been getting sued for years about, like, properly, because she basically robbed a load of students by bringing up a qualification that wasn't valuable. It wasn't valued by anybody. And she was ordered to pay these students back, these university students back. And she just sort of said, no, I'm not giving the money back, and carried on. Went to another judge, said, look, you have to give them the money back. She went, no, I'm not giving them the money back. Took the money out of their wages through laws for a thing that doesn't exist, that isn't worth anything, the qualification. Like tens of thousands of people have been suing her. And it's come up to Biden now, and he's just let her off with it.
Yeah, so she was Trump's Secretary of Education.
Yeah.
So
I think she's cabinet
two
minister,
different judges said you have to give them the money back, and she didn't not give the money back. She carried on taking the money out of their wage packets, so they wouldn't get the money. And she's got 9 boats. One of them's worth $40 million. So this is who she is. One of those people.
You don't need more than that, right?
The what?
You don't need more than
nine boats.
You don't need more than one.
Yeah,
but
it's actually what we're talking about, the filming thing. It's this thing of somebody's got 11. So one of the boats is worth $40 million, which they registered in the Cayman Islands, by the way. So nice American flag waving there, very nice. Yeah. So she's robbing these people, and now Biden's let her off. So all these people she was suing that like were stealing money, basically stealing money. The judge said, you have to give that money back. She said, no, and I'm carrying on taking it out of the wages due to laws that I can wrangle.
Well, there's a whole big scandal about Cuomo, the New York governor.
Fake
coming out.
I
thought he was all right.
Numbers.
Oh, there's a whole bit of him, juggling the numbers, the death numbers for care homes. Because one of his big donors was a care home guy, and they were covering it up. They were covering up how many people were dying in the care homes, and fudging all the numbers and not releasing information, and actively things were disappearing.
So
you know what I mean?
It seems a little corrupt when you go, okay, they're trying to keep the thing down, but then you go, and one of my donors happens to be the thing I'm lying about. You go, well, there you go. Now back to
he's my mate.
Right. He seemed all right. We seemed at the time, but I think he was just talking.
He's a politician, so
yeah, they're all scumbags. He was very vocal about the unfolding coronavirus tragedy early on, but it turns out, he made quite a few mistakes personally and contributed to those awful numbers that we were seeing out of New York. Early on last year.
You go, where do you go with it? Where does it just sinks? Everything just sinking down the bottom till the snapping point. Like, do you remember? God, what was it? Do you remember the case of the guy? Affluenza. That was it. Where a rich kid, got drunk and killed some people in the family SUV, and he actually got off with it. Can you, Andrew? Can you Google affluenza? Case of affluenza, and he got off with it.
He was so sick with Rich.
He got off with it because the defence again, which he got off with, said he's been spoilt all his life, so he hasn't had any rules and nobody to tell him to not do anything.
Ethan Couch. That
was it, and he got off with it. He didn't do any jail time.
Is that the one who like stole a car?
Yeah.
Then
Killed.
maybe I think he hit someone, and then did they rob a liquor store or something? And he had like a 13-year-old girl or something with him. Like that.
God.
It was this list.
But he actually got off with the and you go, Jesus, like that's your defence. He's rich and a rich kid who wasn't given any rules in life. Just
And I think they argued that prison would be unpleasant for him because he's been so rich and so. I think it turned out that the judge was good friends with the parents.
Anything on there, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, well, that.
Well done, Charles.
Yeah,
but just it's so vile. But it's just this slowly. They just pushed the barrier a little bit more till this is normal now. This isn't like, oh my God, this person, let's do a Million Man March. He has to go to jail. It's just like, forgotten about. Next one.
Do you remember that one in that case? There was a case in London about this student. She was a medical student, I do believe, at Oxford University.
Oh, and yes, this one's about.
Yeah, and I think we probably talked about it before. But she was basically a bit of a nutcase, and she was doing a lot of drugs at the time, a lot of hard drugs. And she stabbed her boyfriend. She used to beat up her boyfriend. She stabbed him at one point. And this went to court, and the judge let her off because they said, well, she was a very clever student, and it would be unfair on her career. It would be unfair in her career. Completely got it let off, no criminal record whatsoever. And they said it would be very unfair on her family and her reputation and her career going forward if she was... If we convicted her of stabbing her boyfriend. The judge admitted that she did it and she was criminally liable, but she shouldn't be held accountable.
So we're just living in a joke. Look, who was I saw something pop up recently. There was a woman last year, I think it was saying about something was now. She committed suicide, but she was abusing her husband. And everyone was on her side. Caroline something. She committed suicide. She was like a journalist or a presenter.
Carolina Flack?
Oh, that might be it. Yeah, can you Google that just before I say? I don't want to.
Okay, I don't know.
Caroline Flack. Yeah.
So she was going to go to court.
Quite sad. Yeah.
She was she'd like her boyfriend. She'd picked up something and smashed his face in.
Yeah, there was a domestic abuse charge. Although the boyfriend didn't want to press charges.
But then it also had gone to the police with his face split open where she'd hit him with something while he's
I
asleep.
believe a lamp, I think it was.
Yeah, so I mean, think of that. And then she was going to go to court and she thought, no, I'm not going to court to face the judge, so I'll kill myself. And everyone was on her side, which is fine. You can have your sides of your friends. But I thought, right, what if it was a fella that did that to her? Would you be going, well, she had problems? No. And it's disgusting. It was actually vile. How people were taking her side and saying, it's not fair, you shouldn't judge people. Go, well, just swap it around. So the boyfriend smashed her in the lamp when she in the head with a lamp while she was sleeping. All of it goes away. It's childish.
I don't know. It's like woman beater Johnny Depp. You can legally say that now.
Yeah.
So woman beater Johnny Depp. That whole relationship sounded like just a horrible...
Two garbage people who...
Yeah. And he should never have hit her. She shouldn't have hit him. And
she cut the top of his finger off, didn't she? By throwing it at him. Yeah.
It looked, and I'm not trying to defend it. I'm not defending him whatsoever. But it looked kind of these two personalities these two people shouldn't be together in a relationship, in this awful toxic relationship together. And I just
what does she do? The girlfriend, is she a model?
She's an actress too. Yeah.
Oh, she's an actress. But yeah, the other one, the Caroline thing, that was just somebody smashing somebody's face in and then getting away with it, and everyone taking her side, and it was so disgusting to see the way people were so on her side about everything. Not mentioned, and I just swap it around. What would you say if it was the other way around and the boyfriend smashed her in the face? It was like they were almost saying, "Oh, you don't know her," and I think, "Oh my God, it's disgusting how pathetically childish that is to say." Well, I defend someone because you think if I knew somebody that did that to somebody else, I wouldn't defend them. So it doesn't matter how well I knew them. If I knew somebody who went and got a lamp and smashed their boyfriend's face in with it, I wouldn't be going, "Well, you didn't know her." So I just found it disgusting that they had the balls, that these media people, to go online and defend her and say you don't know her, like you're in the wrong for thinking badly of it. It just made me bloody sick. Well, anyway, let's get off this subject.
Yeah.
So we're 99.9. What are we going to do? What do you think will happen on Monday? Is there any talk? I've just heard that he's going to speak. Is there any talk about what might
There's
happen?
been some leaks in the Daily Mail apparently, but I don't know how.
Have they confirmed there will be stuttering and Latin? They confirmed that will take place. Maximus.
None of that.
Yeah.
As Aridamus second said to
Postumus,
Scrotumus,
is that enough?
Ye gods, man, ye gods.
Yeah, and everyone says, "Oh, what a character he is," and he walks off. And there you go.
Oh,
that's your
what
politics.
a guy! Yeah,
It's then here he goes again.
mumbles something in Latin and just kind of
Has he actually got a
scruffles his head.
stutter? I'm not being funny because I heard him on the radio the other day, and it was almost an exaggeration of the. And I thought, is he doing that on purpose?
Yes,
I don't know if
kind
he's
of.
got a.
Well, talking of what was the what did I listen to? Not Radio 4.
God.
James O'Brien.
Oh,
I listened to two of his
LBC,
books that came
yeah.
up. That was it, yeah. And he said, because he doesn't like him, he said the man isn't. You can't trust him sort of morally with his white women, with business. He's just immoral. And he said when I was younger, and I said we went to do a press thing with him, and he was there. He got ready for the camera. He said he made his tie, pulled it, made it look messy, and did that thing with his hair.
Rough with his hair up. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
pathetic. Just to
I've
do that
seen
in
him
front
do
of
that.
people. Oh.
I've seen him do that. Like before he goes out to do a press conference, even Prime Minister, he scruffs his hair up, unruffles his shirt.
Just
a bit,
pathetic. Just a pathetic child that is. Like how your dignity to do that in front of people. Look at me, I'm a buffoon. That's my character.
I've said it a few times, but he's sort of and obviously with his love of classics, he'd probably maybe this is it. But there was often this. It came from Robert Graves' book I Claudius. That Claudius, the emperor, who had a stammer and was lame, and he had all these people, and everyone thought he was a fool. And so all these people said to him, "Look, keep playing the fool, because that will save you." And that's in the story. That's what saves Claudius. That's what means Claudius is the last one left. When, so all the other heirs are killed by rival, dynastic factions. The emperor's Caligula is assassinated, and then he's the last one left of the imperial family, and that's how he becomes emperor.
because no one, your expectations are low.
Yeah, so no one bothers assassinating.
Yeah.
No one
I saw
bothers
something
trying to assassinate him.
Online the
because-
other day, they were talking about what's the King Jong Il and what we know.
Kim Jong Un is
Yeah.
the current one.
They were saying like his sister's like being groomed to be the next, but they were saying it as she'll be the first fascist woman. I thought, right, are you trying to promote feminism in some sort of weird?
That's
it's a
not
weird thing
that's
to-
not ideal.
Yeah, the first female like fascist. And I thought,
Hey, Hillary's still got a chance, don't
yeah,
you know?
yeah, she tipped the toe in it.
It's the first fascist female leader, you know.
Oh God, I don't know what to do. I just want to get off the planet. Just take me somewhere else.
Do you want to go to Mars? Is that it?
Because
you want to go to Mars
you're-
with Elon Musk?
You're cornered. You're just cornered, and you go, I don't know where to go now. It's like you take one step forward and 15 steps back. Do you, when I was listening to the James O'Brien thing, I remember, I don't know if I said this, but he said there was one bit, because I can't remember the two books. One was about him being right, and the second one was about the times he was wrong, and he got convinced about being wrong. And but he was talking about this Trump guy. Actually, must have been the first one. This Trump fella, and he was talking about how you get people to admit they're wrong, and you don't attack them, but you ask for facts, and they themselves then realise, oh, I've got nothing because I'm just asking you very plainly, give me something, and they haven't, because it's all emotional. They don't know it though. They think it's all intelligence. But
It's the Socratic method, but also it's that these people. It's often that these people are parroting points that they haven't really thought through.
they've just
themselves.
heard, and they don't know that they think you don't know something. But he said at one point, and it was so telling. He said he got the one guy, and he said, "But why do you like Trump?" And he's saying, "Well, he does this." He said, "Yeah, but why?" And then he said, "Right, so tell me the good things he's done." And he said, you can't say anything, can you? And he said, so why? I've just asked you to give me one thing that he's actually done that you like, that he's done, something that he's done. And he said, you can't say anything, can you? And he said, and he went to him, so why do you like him? And the guy just blurted out the honesty. And he went, because he annoys people like you.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, there you go.
That's a very famous call. That
we've
very
famous.
It's
Out of all the country, we've finally got somebody just accidentally said it. I don't know why. I just know he hates people like you. Just that I will cut my nose off. So he'll mess me up. He'll ruin the country. But you're closer to me, and I know it annoys you. So I'll do anything. Just the most pathetic, low-level, stupid, immature from an adult that's coming from. Thinking that you know,
adult in inverted commas.
Yeah, but just that low. The bar
but
is
it's
so
it's
low
that
there,
thing.
isn't it?
It's like and it's that thing of when he was doing like a crap job, like demonstrably a terrible job, even by his own standards, even by the standards of his own fans. They were still like, and the media was going, "This dude's an idiot. He's doing," and they were like, "Ha ha ha!" Triggered. You know what I mean? He's owning the libs, and it's like, no, he's just doing a terrible job. Like he's just very bad at his job. Like this, he's not triggering anyone or owning anyone. He's just incompetent.
But just that delusion of like, I can't see anything. I refuse to see anything, no matter what he does. He could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and there'll be a reason for it. Do you know what I mean? The guy looked at him wrong. It's something you just, oh my god, proper cult. Like that's what it is now. It's at every sort of level. That even the taking the money off of them, which is the usual thing with the cult. But the Steve Bannon that he left, I forgot about him. That he let out. He said,
Sloppy Steve.
he was speaking to somebody, and he was saying to him, but the guy Steve Bannon that works with Trump, he's got done for taking money, stealing money from people that have donated to a wall that Trump said the Mexicans would pay for. And he's saying to him, like, so what, was he going to get a refund from the Mexicans afterwards? Like, but he's stealing from you from something that he said somebody else would do. It's like, I don't know. How do you go to work during the day and like not like you can't be that stupid, but still to defend him. And again, not 1 million people, which would be horrendous, but half the country.
Yeah.
So like
78 million. Yeah.
That's
highest.
And that's
highest,
4 years in. That's not at the start. That's 4 years in.
Yeah, highest votes for an incumbent president ever.
A lunatic, pathological liar child. Then half the
and
country.
incompetent. He didn't do any of the
Everything's
stuff.
wrong. Everything's
He
bad.
didn't do any of the stuff that he promised. You know what I mean? He
Nothing.
didn't even by his own standards. Even if you judge him by his own standards, I'm going to build the wall. I'm going to lock her up. I'm going to bring all the jobs back. I'm going to make coal a thing again. None of
That's
that.
what I mean, you've
None
got
of that happens.
nothing to go. I mean, his only thing is about the stock exchange or whatever he keeps going on about. But that's not you. That's nothing. That's just literally saying my mate.
The Dow Jones.
Yeah, that's like, the stock exchange is doing well. You go, but what you're saying is me and my mates are doing great. That's the best you can do.
It's great for our economy.
Yeah, that means nothing. It does, because it all gets funneled away anyway. So it's just, but this broken record of like the stock exchange, the stock at the money. You go, stop saying that's the country, because you've got food lines going around that have never been there. So it's this parroting thing about the stock exchange. You go, that doesn't mean anything. Why do you keep saying that? It doesn't mean anything.
Last word on Trump. Did you see he gave his first interview since?
I haven't seen it.
I think since whenever. It's the first
Fox
time I've seen
News?
him. Fox and Friends. He called in, and it was about Rush Limbaugh died yesterday, a couple of days ago.
Yesterday, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush
the
Limbaugh,
radio, the right wing radio. guy, isn't
monstrous,
he?
awful.
Oh, he's died, has he?
He died. Yeah. It's sad when anyone dies. Don't get me wrong.
Is it?
In your family.
Is it?
But
Is
the
it?
man was. There's awful jokes going around. I don't know. I'm not happy.
Memes,
but
are there
like,
any memes?
yeah.
But you're not happy.
But I was just like,
Well,
he caused so much damage and so much.
He was a
spread so
lunatic.
much-
It's just-
Some people pointed out that, everyone's saying, because obviously the joke started pretty quickly. I think the hashtag was rest in piss. And I'm only repeating what was said.
I was laughing out of outrage.
I was just, there were lots of jokes, most of which are, even by our usual standards,
they were bad, I've
are
seen,
unrepeatable in terms of... Like some of them are absolutely gold.
I know, yeah.
Wife my one. Oh, I really want to say it, but I can't.
No, you have to be honest.
Okay. So,
This is journalistic integrity.
yeah, this is journalistic. I'm only repeating the joke. It says, if Rush Limbaugh was so pro-life, why did he die? Which I thought was... lots of people were pointing out that, you can't say, show some respect to a dead to a man who would read lists of people who died of AIDS and play comedy sound effects. So
Well, I think rest in piss is offensive. That is not funny.
to piss.
Let's all have a drink to that one.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm just gonna mind.
he spread so much hate and just hate, really.
Yeah, well, I say Rush
over his
Limbaugh,
entire life.
rest in... What was it? Peace.
Rest
That's
in
what.
piss.
Yeah, peace.
Yeah. R.I.P. Wink, wink.
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wink, yeah.
Definitely
But yeah,
R.I.P.
that pro-life one had me howling.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've got no sympathy when people start.
Yeah, if
that
an
sort
awful
of thing,
person,
I don't
if
care.
Hitler
Yeah.
died, he wouldn't be like, show some respect. He'd be like, nope.
He's still a person. He's still a human.
Yeah, he's still someone's son. Yeah, probably his mother was a bitch. That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Trump called into Fox and Friends
Oh,
and said, "Oh, Rush is a very good guy. He was a great friend of mine." And then proceeded to just talk about himself for about half an
Sounds about
hour.
right.
How mean everyone was to him. How he
Yeah,
won
yeah,
the
yeah,
election.
yeah.
Nobody accepted my greatness.
So has he made peace with Fox because he got cross with them, didn't he? Because they called it early.
Yeah, he apparently had a big old bust up with
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch as well. So, but I don't know. I expect he's just glad to be on
Airtime, yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, isn't it great that he's not on any social media?
It is quite nice, actually. It's a little bit like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's just
nice.
quiet for a bit. Yeah, a bit of
It
peace.
reminds me of when I had a Cineworld card, and people remember cinemas. But this is years back, and I went and saw, because once you have a Cineworld card, you have to go. They're not a bad deal. You basically go twice, and you've paid it back. But you get discount on all sorts of things, and clearly I'm trying to get a spokesperson deal. But I would go quite a lot, especially because in my old job working nights, I would have the day free, so it's ideal time to go
It's
to
a
the
nice
cinema.
break going to a cinema. It's a
Yeah,
nice
I think
break.
so. Yeah, well,
it's always a good experience,
Yeah.
even if it's a rubbish film. You always remember it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think because also you go and see films that you wouldn't necessarily go and see because you're like, oh well, it doesn't cost me. And sometimes you find a little hidden gem, or sometimes you see a film you go, well, that was a bit of a failure, but at least they tried something different. It didn't work. But
And
anyhow,
it's always good seeing at the cinema as well because it's natural kind of
and it was,
medium.
Yeah, and it was a really nice routine because I had on the way to my old job in the same place on the same route, I would step off, go to the cinema, then go to the gym, then go to work, and it was fun. But anyhow, I went through this. Yeah, and it was. But I remember going to see a film called. It's quite good. It's not. I wouldn't say it's great or life changing or anything like that, but the life of Walter Mitty, the remake with Ben Stiller, and it didn't. It happened quite quickly. It was only on for a few minutes, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice. This actually, just not being yelled at by a blockbuster, just not
An F-14 fighter pilot.
because it's always something. It's always like explosions, boom, and that's before the titles come up, and I was like. Oh, this is quite nice. This actually,
What was it about?
So he sort of he works for Life magazine, but he's also a daydreamer, and he imagines having all these wild adventures, but he doesn't do anything. And he's tasked with retrieving. The magazine is going to close, but he's tasked with retrieving this magical shot from this famed director who's always off the grid and in these far-flung locations. And so he ends up having one of these adventures that he's always kind of dreamed about.
Have you seen anything online about cinemas? Like, what are they saying? I know a couple of them were closed, haven't they, in America?
Yeah, Cineworld is not opening for the rest of this year, I believe.
Really?
I think,
worldwide, is that, or just
in the UK? Sorry, this is so last year. Obviously, with the lockdown, all the cinemas were closed. Then, with lockdown easing, it was expected that cinemas would open, that they would be, and many did. Many chose to open have spaces and whatnot, only allow people to book certain numbers.
There's not been the new releases though, has there? That's
No,
the
nothing.
issues. Like the new
well,
big,
there are
the big
there are
films.
actually, yeah, there are actually, but you get them. For example, obviously the circumstances are slightly different. At the moment, I think everyone's in the same boat. But when it was in tiers, it might be that cinemas in Scotland could be open or cinemas in Northern Ireland, etc.
But how would you police the sitting down? Because you've got to have people moving
Well, it's the same.
around.
Yeah, but it's the same in bars, isn't it? How do you stop? Well, I guess you block off the chairs or whatever. You cover them. or
Probably
something.
you have the.
But you still have. Oh, you'd have to literally
off or
physically
whatever.
separate them because you
Yeah,
can't have
sell
people
the
getting
tape
up
or
or.
whatever.
Yeah. But
The
when
Maltesers
the-
be about 25 quid each. Trying to get the money
exactly.
back.
well, that's where cinemas make their money is from the concessions. But once the James Bond film, once they pushed it, because they kept pushing it back later and later into the year, until bizarrely, because it was going to be a summer blockbuster, I think, or it might have been spring, when it's normally released near to Christmas time, and so it ended up getting pushed back so much that it was back to the time it normally comes out, and then they pushed it to this year now, 2021. And Cineworld went, well, we're not going to open without Bond, because there's no Marvel films this being were going to be released, because Black Widow was meant to be this year. I'm not sure if there was
last May, I think, wasn't it?
yeah, last May. Yeah, I'm not sure if there were meant to be others. Obviously, Wonder Woman 1984 was meant to be released in the so Bond was the one they were holding out.
But how
hope
many?
for.
How big a gap did they have in non-filmmaking? Was it about half a year? There
No,
was no
not even
films being
that.
made?
No, a few. Probably a couple of months, because it depends. I mean,
Everything's filming in Australia. I'm seeing a lot of stuff. They're filming the new Thor film in Australia.
yeah.
Oh no!
So I think
come on.
because it seems to be everything's filming next. Australia's sort of a bit, yeah,
Oh yeah, Love and Thunder.
yeah.
But is this one of those? What's the one prequel how he was a kid? One of those.
No,
sort
no,
of-
it's no,
They've
it's a
milked
sequel.
that surely. How many have they
It's
done?
Jane
4?
Foster. It's going to be Natalie Portman as Thor. So
So this
Hey?
will be the fourth. This will be the fourth. Thor.
yeah, Thor 4. Yeah, I know, yeah.
Is that drink kicking in now?
Yeah, I know. Very challenging to. So
But
that's
Andrew, Charles, what was that
fourth-
about? She's a Thor.
Yeah,
She's
it's
a Thor.
it's
This is going to
Jane
blow his mind.
Jane Foster. Yeah, so Natalie Portman in the first 2
She was the
Thor
girlfriend
films.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
How is
she
she Thor?
becomes Thor because she ends up becoming worthy and lifting Mjolnir and gaining the power. Of
Is this
Thor.
just going to be another one of these female-led films that just goes down the pan? Is this what we're just heading?
No,
for?
I think it's the idea is that there's because that's from the comic books.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? Originally.
Yeah, it's from a while ago. Yeah,
what
about
there was a female
6.
Thor.
Yeah.
Thor
And that was
became
Jane Foster
unworthy
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thor became unworthy, and then Jane Foster became worthy. And it gets a bit more interesting because she has terminal cancer as well. She's a doctor and she has terminal cancer, so she's becoming Thor to sort
But
of.
she's a
escape
human,
time.
isn't she? Isn't that two
Yeah.
different things? He's not human.
Well,
Or
because
is
he
it?
has a human. Because they don't really do that in the films, but in the certainly I remember in the cartoon, was it the same? I don't know if it's the same in the comic books, but that he has almost in the same way that He-Man is, he's Prince Adam and he's also He-Man, and you would have Thor on Earth. His human identity was
Donald
some
Blake.
doctor. Oh, there he is. He's got the book. There we are. For people listening, Charles is showing us one
Is
of
that
his
sealed copy as well?
47,000
haven't.
comics.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I've got. It's been really good this run. Donny Catt's run, it's been really good.
Who is it? So what's the run like? What's its sort of subtitle? If
It's
people
the
wanna check it
current.
out?
It's the current run of Thor. It's
Oh, it's just
yeah.
so it'd just be Thor number or whatever.
Yeah, it's Thor. Yeah, from 1 to 9. But it's Donny Cates. He's really fast becoming one of my favourite Marvel.
Okay.
so there are
it's
still
coming.
people making money from doing comic like illustrators and things. It's still a money maker, is it?
No,
okay, right.
it's not as big. I mean, the heyday of the 90s where
Yeah,
X-Men
yeah.
Mm.
#1 sold 1.5 million copies, and like.
But I mean, could
it
you
was-
you could have a career as a as a comic book illustrator?
Yeah,
As a writer for hire, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Because some of them illustrations, they're no joke. Like that's like I saw some of the Conan things. That's proper artistry, mate. That's not
Yeah,
like a.
no, it really is. Yeah, they are real artists. Some of them.
What was the first comic book character?
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I know it probably started off as cartoons or something. But what was the first recognized? Was Superman? It had to be Superman, surely.
No.
No, there was one before. There was a guy before. There was, I think something like it wasn't the
Well,
fancy.
a movie character was he?
No, it was.
Do you
it was
mean
a
comic
strip.
as in like a comic hero, or do you mean as in a comic strip
Oh, I don't know.
of
the
any
difference.
kind?
Just like the first running thing of a superhero.
There was a guy in the 30s.
What's a
Not
comic
the
strip?
Shadow?
Was it the Shadow? No, he was actually have powers, because they were sort of like Doc Savage types who were just sort of Indiana Jonesy kind of super cool dudes, but they didn't necessarily have powers. You know what I mean? I think there was
the other
a
day
guy
I watched
before.
what's it called? Oh bloody hell! Back to the Future.
John Carter of Mars? I don't know if that counts.
Oh God, did that have a comic book?
Yeah.
It was a novel, wasn't it?
Yeah, magazine. So I guess, serialized. So
Yeah, I watched the Back to the Future, the original one, and
Which one? The first one.
Yeah, and it's just so nice. It's just you can just relax. I remember.
Phantom, perhaps.
Maybe the Phantom. Yeah. I was thinking maybe.
What can he do?
Well, he's the guy in purple. He's the ghost who walks.
Again, what can he do?
He kind of wears a very tight costume and shoots people.
Shoots people. He can't like. What's his special power?
I guess he's sort of a ninja, isn't he? He's very
I think he had
martial arts.
He was sort of stronger and faster, and he was physically
like Captain America sort of thing.
Yeah. A super soldier kind of thing.
When did Captain America come in? Was that invented for like World War II or something? Like
yep,
it was
1940.
Really,
yeah, 1940. Yeah, yeah. It's before. It was Jack Kirby and Stanley started. It was the first thing that Stanley wrote. I think actually 6 or 7 or something.
Oh. Who's the new kid on the block in terms of comic books? Is there anyone causing friction? Like, who's this new superhero they've invented?
Currently right now, DC are doing a weird thing. Future State, and where basically they've just gone, we're just going to suspend our normal run of everything for about 4 months or 3 or 4 months, and then do all these do new versions of all their old characters set like 50, 60 years in the future. So there's like a Brazilian Wonder Woman. There's a black Batman. And people have been complaining about this.
I watched a documentary on Walt Disney. It's quite interesting. But you can't believe the hand drawing, all those people hand drawing, like the sketching, the just for an hour. You go, how on earth? And to get it all uniform as well, that I couldn't understand. You go, these people have to be geniuses that he's hired, that they can get everything exactly perfect. And just the time consuming to just frame on top of frame on top of frame. But it was interesting to say, like, when he started doing the films, how he did like the 3D effects of like moving through the forest and all that sort of thing. And it shows the evolution of his signature that he decided it was going to be, until it eventually ended up as what it was, because he was trying. It was like a piece of his art. He was trying to create the signature to make it look as perfect as possible. So you see all the signatures that he's done over the decades until it eventually gets to the one that you recognise as Walt Disney. But yeah, it was really interesting just the way he had to push through with everything, and how when he built Disneyland, why he built things, why certain buildings were the same. There was a thing about, oh God, was it the size of the buildings, the perspective, something to do with the perspective of the buildings, that even when you're close to them, they still look far away and big. It was something to do with the way they were designed, so that wherever you are, it always looks like there's things up on the hills, but they're actually a lot closer than you think. But it's all designed to make you feel like you're in this sort of kingdom. Really interesting.
That's clever, yeah.
But yeah, just the person he was. I know there was things about the Nazis and all this. He was
anti-Semitism.
Yeah,
and
but
such,
apparently
yeah.
he was right. Let's say it doesn't hold. None of it holds. But I think it was on Netflix. So you should watch it.
I don't see too much of that in. I mean, there are probably one or two. I mean, there's Song of the South,
Yeah.
but you don't see a lot of examples of that in the big films, the big Disney films, the older ones. In fact, they're very clean cut, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
you sort of have to admire at that time to have not done it. And that means there was really nothing in you because you would have, even if it was softly, just put things, racism in there, but you wouldn't known it was racism at the time. But they didn't even do that. So
there's a couple of things. I mean, the crows in Thingy, the crows in Dumbo. You're like,
those are quite.
That's quite a.
But if that's the most you've got, that's not too bad.
But I'm saying there's a couple of examples here and there. It's not like every single film. I mean, for things made in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, it's not like every single thing. You're like, ugh.
May I read from a short little extract? It's just one of my favourite film stories. It's from this book. It's a really lovely book called Cinema's Strangest Moments, and it's just about fun little anecdotes. It's literally just a
go on.
thing about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh yeah.
So Difficult to imagine it now, but this timeless cartoon classic, the first ever full-length animated feature film, was once derided as Disney's folly. Many doubted that Walt could pull off such an unprecedented technical and artistic challenge, and, when it looked as though the film was going to cost around 6 times its estimated budget, even the patience of his bank finally began to run out. Disney was staring into the abyss of financial ruin. Joseph Rosenberg, who handled the studio accounts at the Bank of America, questioned why he should keep advancing cash for the celluloid money pit. In a last desperate effort to keep the film going, Walt and his brother Roy offered to screen a showreel of available footage for Rosenberg, who watched their efforts in stony silence. Walt feared the worst until the banker was back in his car and about to drive off. "That thing," he said, "is going to make you a hat full of money."
A hat full of money.
Yeah, I love that. But it's this book, Cinema's Strangest Moments by Quentin Falk. It's a really lovely book. It's got all sorts of anecdotes like that, these last minute things.
I saw something the other day. I can't think what I was watching, but it was like the 50s or something. And I was watching, I think, everyone's wearing a hat. Like everyone, like just different stuff. I thought, oh, hang on, but we don't do that anymore. Like, I see a hat shop in London, central London. I thought, oh, it was noticeable because it was a hat shop. And I thought, oh, look, there's some old sort of trilbies and things like that in them. I mean, could I think you could get away nowadays sticking a bowler hat on, no matter what you wear. I think you could get away with it. It's got something about, you could have jeans and a shirt and a bowler hat and it would be sort of quite quirky.
I am partial to a hat.
Oh, have you? What sort of hats have you got?
Oh, God, this could take
Well, let's have a look. We'll get one.
Well, let me go.
I think I've seen you wearing a hat, but I can't think what.
Yeah, I've probably worn hats.
I wear a hood.
When you're fighting crime. No, when you're fighting the superheroes coming to get you because you're bald.
The eventual takedown, yeah.
Someone was saying, have you seen that bit in Curb Enthusiasm where he's like, bald people, we're a minority? Yeah, that was a hate. Someone called him a bald arsehole or something. That is a hate crime. Yeah.
And the black guy turns up. He says, "Well, you've chosen to you shave your hair."
Yeah, because sir, we do not consider you part of the bald community. That is a choice you have made. Yeah.
It's Jeff Bezos. He's bald, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let's hope Theo.
It's a proper prejudice. Like it's worked its way into the media. We have to make you.
It's so easy to poke you on this one. Like,
but it's because you laugh at other prejudices, but that's a proper one. Like they never falter. It's always the bald evil guy.
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah,
this one is also washed, but this is a
Oh,
this is a sort of Stetson. It's not proper.
From the camera, it looks more like what's the
I know.
witchcraft film of
Unfortunately,
the
there's not much
60s.
perspective. Yeah, I do look a bit Wizard of Oz in this one. This is the hat I wore in China. So this is. It's,
Oh, you was going
it's
for the
like
English
a
gent
Panama
look.
hat. Yeah.
oh no,
like a Panama
that
hat,
works. Yeah,
this one.
Panama hat always works overseas.
Yeah.
A nice blue shirt on some.
I look like
tans.
I was, Dr. Grant.
Although I could also see you on the back of a horse wearing.
Oh,
it.
Englishman
that's why I
with
got
a-
this one here.
Oh, yeah.
That's a leather one.
Where'd you get that?
My parents brought that one back from. The rest are all mine. They bought
So
this
is that not
back.
like a Stetson? It's not like.
My
a proper-
mother brought this back from.
What does it say
Argentina, from
inside?
Monaco.
Like the make and all that.
No, it's just it's the kind of hat that the sort of Argentinian cowboys would wear.
So just put it on casually, like you're out in the street. It's quite hot. Yeah, works. That works.
Oh, the casual way, the non-casual way is to do the flip.
No, that's too cocky. It's too classy for that. Yeah,
If I tilt it back like this, then I'm
George
American
Formby.
Tail 5.
Oh, yeah.
Goes west.
yeah.
you're Mexican.
This is great for our audience, for all the listeners, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you ever
right for
seen
not watching.
Wolf Hall? They always do that elaborate thing where they take the hats on and off, so they don't get hat hair. It's like a thing because everyone
right,
wore
yeah,
hats back then, but you
course,
end up
yeah,
looking
yeah.
scruffy and weird. So they actually had a specific. It seemed they have a specific way to take the hat on.
Oh, I think
So
we
you
should
get a
bring
hat
back
back.
hats. Let's bring back.
I think I
hats.
love
But
hats.
It's a
I love
nice.
a good hat.
It's not an affectation. It's just a nice little. I mean, when I watched the old Laurel and Hardy ones, there was I think they got a statue of them somewhere, and it's on a set of steps, and it's made of stone, obviously. Oh no, brass, I think. And it's just two bowler hats, one straight and one slightly tilted, and you go, nothing else on there. You just know straight away. And when you watch the old Laurel and Hardy, just the little things you do, like the big, just the little tilt of the hat. I don't know what it says, but it just. I was watching one the other day. And this is pathetic content, but I was watching the one the other day, and when he goes to get him, and he can't, he's sitting in a wheelchair that's not made for him, so he bends his leg up underneath, like the little one. And then he hasn't seen him for years, and he thinks he's come back from a war. And the what's his name? Stan. he goes to sit on the bench and there's people on it, but he sees this wheelchair, so he sits in it, but his foot doesn't fit in the thing, so he just sits on his own foot, so it looks like he's got one leg. And then after years of not seeing him, Ollie turns up, sort of looks sad because he can only see half a leg. But then he carries on through half the scene of him carrying him and helping him, and he doesn't say like I've got another leg. He just carries on moving him around. He just doesn't say. And then he gets out the car and he just walks around and he sort of double takes, looks at his leg.
No,
He says, "Why didn't you tell me you had a leg?" He said, "You didn't ask." He's been carrying him around like this.
Yeah,
But yeah, you just do that little tilt of the hat, and it's so nice.
it's still funny when you watch those.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, it shouldn't age. I mean, I never really liked the Marx Brothers. I don't know why. I think because they didn't have that friendship. There wasn't that charming thing between the two of them. Do you know? It was just them attacking each other all the time. Whereas at least the Laurel and Hardy thing, you had a sense of them friends and caring, but there was none of that. It was always one trying to get one over the other one. But they were funny. They were. There was. I remember, who was the main Marx, but the with the big tash in there?
Groucho.
Groucho, that was it. Yeah, and he had. He was always sort of getting married to like a big fat woman. He was for their money.
Wealthy dowager. He was always always zooming in, zeroing in on the wealthy dowager. Yeah.
She was always four times his size.
Was he what they would call at the time a lifelong bachelor, or?
Oh, no idea. He went on
In
to do
real
game
life,
shows, I think, didn't he? There was. I remember one scene. And he's always been nasty to these women. He was sat on the park bench. No, he was sat somewhere there, and he was like, looking in her eyes lovingly, and they was being romantic. And he went, "Oh, let's meet under the moonlight in the park." And he went something like, "You wear a hat. You'd just be you, me, and the moon." And he went, "You wear a hat, so I know which one you are." I thought, just cruel.
He was married lots of times.
Oh, it was. Would you
I
know?
didn't realise that they actually all were brothers. I assumed that was
No, they were. I didn't realise.
Yeah, that was an affect. I assume, in this. I mean, obviously, the Chuggle brothers. Obviously, they were brothers, but you think like, oh, it's not.
But they didn't look anything like each other, which is why. I mean, I don't know what they look like out of costumes. That was the thing. What was it? Curly? Was it Curly?
Yeah. So hold on here.
Groucho.
No, yeah.
Chico,
Groucho.
Harpo, Gummo, and Zeppo,
Oh, right. Okay, I got them wrong.
and
You're
Carl,
thinking,
of
you're
course,
thinking
the
of
most famous.
You're thinking of these Stooges, I think.
Stooges. That's what I was talking about. Sorry. Yeah. I forgot that the what was it called? Oh, the Queen. A lot of their albums were after their movies, like Night of the Races, Night of the Opera.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was their movies. And I thought,
okay. I didn't. Yeah,
I never picked up on what the reference was, like why he went for that. I think there's just a three: Night of the Movies, Night of the Day at the Races, Night at the Opera, and I can't remember what the third album was called. But I thought, oh, yeah, that's a strange. Why choose those? I can't think unless he was a fan of them. It's just that was all it was.
Just a little reference, yeah. My mum saw she didn't meet him, but she saw him in a restaurant, Groucho.
In England?
No, in LA.
Oh.
They were in LA when she was young. My grandpa was there on business and took the family along with him, and they went to the Brown Derby. Which is the very big famous celebrity Hollywood restaurant, and he was just in the corner, and they were like, "Oh my god, that's Groucho Marx!" You know what I mean? That was like, I
wonder if you'd recognise him without the big tash and all that. Surely not.
I think he was wearing glasses and smoking a big cigar.
I was going to say, unless he sat there.
Yeah, he would,
Oh god,
I was sort of holding court or whatever, and
When I went to Hollywood, it's so weird because you realise it's a dump. You go there and it's awful because it's a caricature of itself, but a bad one. So it's like going to Leicester Square, but like a bit downtrodden. So like people after 5 do not go to Hollywood because it's like you got gangs and things. Rome. It's not. You don't go there after 5, but you. Actually,
isn't the strip? The what's it? The strip or something?
Yeah, but it's got like Hooters bars and it's just like it's playing on itself sort of thing. So it's just very tacky. But I remember in the autobiography of Schwarzenegger when he was over in America, and they said they took him to Hollywood because he said I want to go to Hollywood, and they took him, and he's like, "Is this it?" And he said they think he'd confused Las Vegas with Hollywood, so that it was just a road with like a couple of restaurants and like the like I said, just the Hooters bars and things, and. But yeah, somebody said to me, "You don't go Hollywood after like night because it's quite bad. It's like quite rough." I think people get Hollywood and the Las Vegas lights. I think that's Hollywood. No, Hollywood's just a street with some restaurants. It's awful. Or
isn't it like the red light district as well?
Yeah, it feels that sort of. It's got that sort of look to it. And there's some like cheap places you go in and buy things. I'm in USA, it's very very tacky. And I went into the Hooters bar. But then I just felt bloody awkward. I thought, I didn't think this through. I'm sat there trying to look a woman in the face. She, what would you like? Were you from England? Yep.
Yep.
Couldn't get my head back far enough to keep my eyes up. I thought, this was it. Why did I agree to do
I
this?
mean, that's an odd. I wonder how that survives in this day and age. How
It's America, so you got to. It's they're slightly a bit more. Not say grotesque, but they're a bit more base.
But also, I'm just wondering from an equal opportunities employment. You know,
Yeah.
can't you surely must
I
hire a
wonder
man?
then from here now, like nowadays in America, do you get? I mean, I'm assuming this is who. Can you Google it? Like Hooters?
I think it's still around. I honestly genuinely
But
think
that's right in your face. That's in the times of Me Too and all that.
I mean,
well,
literally.
yeah, I would feel weird about. I would think it would be one of those things where I wouldn't want to look too much because then I'd feel I'd have to tip more.
Right.
Basically, like the more I check them
Do I
out, the more
put it
I'm
in
like
your-
ogling
do I
them.
put it
like,
down your
yeah,
top? Or do I-
no, well, I'd feel bad. I feel guilty about.
That's what I felt. I felt
having a
bad
look
for
and then-
being in
yeah.
there, and she didn't quite because she was there. And I thought, but why do I feel like I shouldn't be here? So is it still going, Hooters?
Yeah.
I think
Hell,
isn't there one in England?
No,
There was one in
no.
England. I think
Oh,
there was
there
one
might
in
have been.
London. Yeah,
I saw a Taco Bell the other day. I just passed one. The drive. I didn't realise it was there.
yeah.
in
There's
Milton
one
Keynes.
in Reading. Yeah,
Oh.
they've opened up like a year or two.
Have you been in there?
You know what? I haven't, and I do love Mexican food, but for some reason,
I went into the one in Lakeside in Thurrock, and that was quite nice, like the taco roll, and it was quite cheap. I was surprised how cheap it
Yeah.
was for what you get.
It's like McDonald's for Mexican food. you know?
Yeah, well, it's owned by KFC. No, KFC is owned by Taco Bell. It's the same
Oh,
company.
really?
It's
Okay.
basically,
Mm.
yeah, it's the same company.
There is a chain of restaurants now called Shooters,
Oh yeah.
where all the ladies carry open carry.
Oh, we
in the
spoke about
restaurant.
this. Yeah, with the guns.
Oh, did we talk about? Yeah.
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 Nice step forward for civilization. We carry
Yeah.
guns. Oh, fantastic.
That's
Yeah, imagine walking in there just trying to relax with these people walking past saying it could kick off here any moment.
It doesn't. I mean, have you? It do, I remember, like, it doesn't. I remember going places. I remember when I went abroad, and saw police officers openly carrying weapons.
Yeah,
you know, on
I
their hip.
remember that.
And
yeah.
I didn't. I just like, whoa, like, don't like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel safe seeing people walking around with guns. Maybe if I
they're
had one
only
too.
defensive is everyone's got guns, then you sort of have to go, well, we need a gun. You can't be the one in America that hasn't got the gun because there are shootings more often. So you sort of, it's in this bloody thing, and then you've got the NRA poking adverts at people. You can see it just keeps the whole bloody wheel spinning. All money,
Yeah.
all based on money. Nothing
It's
about
a big
rights,
industry,
money.
isn't it?
Yeah. I remember seeing when I got off at LAX and I saw a cop who just stood there with his gun. I thought, bloody hell, it doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
one,
As I said, it's odd. Yeah.
In New York, it was very strange because they were low because we were very close to Times Square, our hotel. We just lucked out with a deal. So in Times Square itself, there are tons of, I mean, obviously all around New York, there's lots of police and and they're all carrying guns. But in Times Square, they had guys in like full on SWAT gear with assault rifles. But you could take a picture with them, but it was quite interesting. They seemed to take a judgment on whether they would how close they would let you come.
Right.
So I've got quite a good I'm like, this is quite cool actually. Just picture of me just stood beside them. They're all happy to pose with their fucking great big, pardon my French. You know, but it's a mix because you've got, I guess, what you would call the average in inverted. I don't mean to besmirch, but him, but I mean the standard beat cop. So he's got a gun, a handgun and body, a vest and whatnot and a nightstick. But yeah, there's like guys with the SWAT helmets and massive assault rifles.
Well, I remember when I'm in Heathrow, because I see them with the machine guns. I mean, we see it all in there, but the office where they got all the things, the embassies. But there's something, I don't know what it is, about the single handgun that feels more dangerous on the side of, if I saw somebody stood there with the machine gun, there's something a bit more odd than seeing one bloke there with a handgun. I don't know why.
Just randomly walking around.
Yeah, it just feels. But when I grew up in Belfast, there were soldiers outside all the houses, just sat there with the big machine guns and tanks going up, well, not armored machines going up, and because it's in Belfast in those years. But I remember sort of speaking to people. You'd open the door and they'd just be sat there, like be 50 of them in the street, just sat there everywhere. Just like with guns, but they stoked. It was such a whirlwind of problems because obviously they didn't want the the army there, but then the soldiers they were sending over there were the 17, 18 and 19-year-olds who were obviously like the testosterone and things, so they would be getting thrown things out and microwaves thrown out the window or fridges thrown out the window on top of them and buckets of water thrown out of them, piss full of piss down onto them. So they then hated the people even more in Ireland, but then made them, so they would do things like burst into people's houses and take food out of the fridge and things, like the soldiers pull people out of bed and throw them out the door and then just walk off again. So that made that even worse. But when you got 17, 18, 19-year-old soldiers that don't know anything being thrown over there, it was just a bloody mess. The whole thing, Belfast, it was a bloody mess in the 70s and 80s. What's happening with the borders in Ireland now and the Brexit thing? Has that all calmed down?
Good question. It still seems to be a bit of a mess. It's still unresolved, I think.
So what about all the banners? Remember, it's all going to be simple and money and saved money, and it's going to be wonderful. We've sorted it all
less
out.
red tape, and it seems we have now more red tape.
As far as I'm aware, it's that sort of soft Brexit. It's that soft. They're not going to have border checks.
Ireland, we're talking about.
Yeah, on the island of Ireland, as far as I'm aware. But there will be for things like obviously importing.
Well, I said really just my little experience of it, trying to get a little video camera monitor. It was supposed to be 3 to 5 days because of Brexit, and took just over 3 weeks and 2 failed deliveries at the border that went back. Just that.
There's always bound to be, because I'm sure certainly in the early days there would be, because we are now post Brexit. There'd be lots of problems because no one wants to get it wrong and get a huge bloody fine. So but you think because I'm not agreeing they're right.
It would have to, you'd preempt them problems. Surely there would be ultra basic stuff, ultra simplicity.
No, there seemed to be a real lack of preparation. Even in end of October, beginning of November, the government's own statistics were that 2/3 of businesses had done nothing effectively to prepare.
I remember it was still like they were still deciding what are we going to do, like just weeks before it's going to happen. Like they're suddenly going, oh, so how's this all going to work? Like it felt like the conversations felt like that. Like, oh, hang on, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Well, haven't you sorted this out years ago? Oh no, we were just talking then. We just wanted your vote. We were just playing on your emotions. Now it's actually come to it. We don't know what to do. Well, it's the coronavirus all over again, isn't it? Should be simple, but no, it's got to be 10 times more complicated. Oh, anyway, any good news? Anything happening?
Oh, yes, you'll like this one.
Oh, yeah.
The Mars landing, the NASA Perseverance rover has touched down on Mars.
Oh, it's actually touched down, is it?
Yeah, so it's tweeted some pictures saying, this is my forever home.
Has it got a tweet? Has it got a Twitter account? Has it got a Twitter account then? Yeah.
Tweeting? Is it
already
tweeting
accused of Nazism?
Yeah, it's already been cancelled.
Stay there, robot.
Yeah, exactly. You're better off.
No,
it landed. I don't have the time, but quite recently.
Landed. The robot going, I'm not coming back, wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't blame it. It landed 30 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
So
cutting edge news we give you.
Yeah, exactly. So we're 25:09.
There's somebody
UK
on the radio
time.
complaining about, I think, because we still give India a certain amount of money, and he was saying we shouldn't be giving millions of pounds to a country that has a space program. Like something seems wrong there. Like, we're giving you a few money for a cherry, but you've actually got rockets going up into space.
It also has the most poor people in any one country in the world.
Proper poor as well.
Poverty. Biggest poverty. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, people with, nothing. Barely clothes, you know.
Well, when I went to Gambia and I saw, you forget, because you know there's poverty, but when you go, there's no unemployment benefit. So if you don't make money, you don't eat. So I remember, and I'm exaggerating, but I remember seeing a tree with a plank of wood a big plank of wood along the side, and a bloke sat underneath with a table in front of him, and it did have like a pair of old trainers, a hat, and some tins of food. You go, that's his shop up against a tree. No one's laughing. But if you don't make those pennies, then you're not going to eat. Simple as that. Yeah. There was something about in India. What was I saying? Oh, it was on the radio again. They were talking about the poverty over there. I can't think what it was. But yeah, he was just saying that a lot of people have their families and quite important. So it's not like single people that are poor. It's like you've got a family of 6 kids and you've got nothing. And so how do you, you've got to do things. That's why there's corruption at every level with police and all that, because everyone's skint. Oh, hang on, that's supposed to be a positive story. How did we get to that?
Well, it was. We were talking about the Mars rover. I've got a funny story for you as
yeah.
well.
Go on.
So, a wanted man handed himself into police in West Sussex to avoid having to spend any more time in lockdown with the people he lives with. The man, whose identity was not disclosed, presented himself voluntarily to Sussex police on Wednesday afternoon, reportedly in the hope of getting some peace and quiet.
Yeah, nice change of scenery. Yeah.
Police said the man, who was wanted on recall to prison, handed himself into Burgess Hill police station and was in custody heading back.
But you've got that.
See, that's a
fine
film.
line.
That's a film. That's at
Just
least
follow
a good
him round.
short, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what? There's a fine line of like, what do you do to get you into jail, but without. Like, do you just walk into a police station and you say, "You, sir, are an asshole"? And they go, "Right, in you go."
Well,
Right,
that's the thing in American Werewolf in London, isn't it? He's trying to get arrested because he knows he's about to change. It's in near the climax spoiler for a fucking 40-year-old film, but he's he's about to change into a werewolf and he wants to be arrested.
Right, to get locked up.
So he starts. I think he hurls insults at the policeman. He tells him that he calls Margaret Thatcher a man. I think eventually he knocks his hat off or something, or runs off with it.
Knocked his hat off.
He's so desperate. On a night out, one of my friends did that once. So drunk. This was a long time ago. This one was, late teens. So this is about 40, 50 years ago. And
it feels like it anyway.
When you were allowed out to the pub.
Yeah, exactly. And just skipping along, like just joking around with it, because on this street in Brighton, they would have quite a heavy police presence, and they weren't heavy-handed. If people were just drunk and falling around, so what is technically a crime, drunk and disorderly, they wouldn't bother. They were just there for fights, really. Yeah. As in not to start fights, as in to break up fights.
They were there for
a good old scrap.
Who wants some?
Yeah, just to test out their new nightstick. No, but they also had I guess a sort of traffic police. They would just call them in to help out. So, with the white hats, I think that's the traffic police. And she skipped up to him, meant to like pinch his hat, jolly, to be like, "Oh, isn't it funny? I've got your hat." Kind of, they probably put it on and full on slapped him round the head, and almost knocked him over.
That's a crime.
Knocked the hat off. Yeah. It was so bad. She nearly got arrested. One of our friends talked them out of it, just like very apologetic, very groveling. But it was just like, oh dear, this could, and that's the kind of thing that could mess up your whole, assaulting a police officer. Is a serious crime.
Yeah, if they choose to take that far.
She wasn't a person of colour, was she?
No, she wasn't. No.
Oh, good. So it'll calm down. Thank God for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say if she wasn't white, she might. Yeah, they probably would have done it anyway.
It wasn't so fun.
I mean, again, we're not joking about that. That's a friend of mine, Charlie. He gets stopped all the time because he's very tall. He's black.
This is your problem. You've not. This is his problem. he's already
causing
issues.
He just all the time in his car. He just gets stopped to the point he just goes through he knows the routine. He knows the lines. He doesn't get cross. Like inside, he just like very cross about it. But outwardly, he knows just to switch off, just be completely thing. Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. And then they'll let him go.
What was the Family Guy where the dad? What's his name?
Peter.
Yeah, Peter. There's a scene, I don't know what it was, where he's back in history, but he's black or something happens.
He finds out one of his ancestors was a slave.
Well, yeah, something. But he does. A white man's attacking a white woman or something like that. And then the police turn up, and the white guy runs out, and he just gets down on his hands and knees. He goes, "I know how this works," and puts his hands behind his back and gets on the floor.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is especially particularly in America, but in this country, it's not great. The stats.
Well, on that police brutality, I think we'll leave it there.
Cool.
And
we don't need to talk about that later.
Charles, have you got anything in other news to close the show off?
No, nothing.
In other news, we found out today that Charles has cooked his own biscuits. We didn't know he cooked his own biscuits.
Is that a euphemism or
no? Oh, you was getting something. Yeah, he's eating cookies. I said, "Where'd you get them from?" He said, "I made them." I said to him, "Can you bring something to the show?" He said, "They'll never make it in."
Do they constitute the?
That's
outside that's outside the cheese and cake diet.
Yeah, he's going healthy. He's going all healthy. Well, there you go. It always ends on Charles's dietary habits. So that's the show.
He usually starts on his bowel movements and
goes downhill from there.
It's a source of constant fascination, isn't it?
Yeah, so I honestly don't know what we're going to do. It depends what they say. But if we do something stupid like starting at 99.A or B, I will apologise now. It is out of desperation more than anything. We are not mocking you. We are not laughing at you. But we'll have to come up with some idea. But hopefully he'll say in 2 weeks, maybe if we're lucky, something. Push
He'll
it to
say
3
champagne
weeks.
for everyone.
Yeah, pop the
We start going backwards.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, sod it.
I think Deadpool comics
Well,
started
I
doing
actually
that
got
at one
annoyed
point.
at myself. I actually got annoyed at myself because when I looked, I thought, why did I start at 99.5? I should have started at 99. So anyway, but yeah, so actually we should get on because Kerem usually has his dinner about now.
It's very late dinner, 25 to 10.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
So that was the show. And
I never
so
said
we'll
that.
figure out what we're... Oh, who said that?
We're getting live. We're getting live Kerem dinner updates.
Yeah.
Surely he eats
live
during the
heckling.
show, right?
Yeah. No, so there you go. So that's the show. And we will be back with some point with something. And thank you very much.
Are we going to sing on the way out as well?
No, are you going to go out the way you went in?
Yeah, singing. Bit.
Go. What was your song?
Oh, I was if you leave me now, you take away the biggest part of me.
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. This is Vialucci FM.
Baby, please go.
You have not been charged for this show. Bye. Bye.
You have to pay to stop listening.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.